I was reading, or not reading, but watching somebody's like 5-panel discussion with that Dylan Burns guy and a bunch of other people where they were talking about the Roald Dahl controversy. And one of the big points, or one of the just large chunks really of the conversation, was about the persistence of art and whether or not like your art continue and if things should be set in stone after you're dead. And the entire conversation, it's hard to bring back because it was so fucking stupid that I can't really re-articulate a lot of their points. It's kind of like trying to talk grammatically incorrect on purpose. Walk down the street and intentionally trip yourself. It's kind of hard to get back to it, and they're definitely not things that are so egregious I want to commit them to memory, but I'm just going to go for the vibe, okay? And that is that there's this general consensus amongst the people that were very strictly against the Roald Dahl censorship controversy, that his wishes needed to be continued after death, and that what they read in the original versions of these Roald Dahl books were permanent, or just like even his original intent, which is just not how publishing works at all. And I guess before I jump into that, I meant to do that second, but I guess I'll just get it because it's at the top of my mind. So if you're not fully aware, Roald Dahl is a former spy for the British Empire, a lifelong anti-Semite and racist, but also a prolific author. Well, not maybe prolific, but an author of several very successful and really well-known works of art, or works of child literature, I guess. I don't know what to say. Kids books. He wrote kids books. I don't know why I tried to gin that up so much. Roald Dahl wrote fucking kids books. The most notable ones would be the what do you call it? The Witches, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and BFG, the big fucking giant, big friendly giant. Those are the three that I know the most. I know there's several more, I think, but those are definitely the biggest properties. And obviously, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, adapted in 1970, I think, one or some shit like that, by Gene Wilder and his whole fucking crew, as the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which you might remember a little bit better. That's pretty much the biggest one. Witches had an adaptation recently that I didn't bother to go see because, I don't know, there's just something about Anne Hathaway these days where I'm just crushingly uninterested in Anne Hathaway. I don't know why, but I'm just not. I think Anne Hathaway is not interested in Anne Hathaway. She won that award for that musical. She did Les Mis, like 8 years ago, and then she's just like, nah. She saw herself with those chiclet teeth that they put in her during that movie and went, fuck it. I got Havoc under my belt. I've got a lot of good shit. I'm done. Anne Hathaway's fucking out. But anyway, she was in The Witches or whatever the fuck. I think if I'm wrong about that, I'm gagged. I'm murdered. I'm slaughtered. Whatever. But the real thing is, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is definitely the biggest. It's been remade into Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Johnny Depp. It was a considerably less good adaptation. That was a Tim Burton film. And now I think it's coming back on like Netflix or some shit, and someone's trying to make another adaptation of it. But in any case, Roald Dahl himself has been dead for like a million fucking years, right? Longer than I've been alive, Dahl has been in the ground. He was a spy in like World War II. That's how long ago this dude was active. And so during his lifetime, obviously, shit was different, okay? People had, the general vibe amongst whites and everyone else was certainly a thing, especially in the 1930s and 40s. And so Roald Dahl wrote some books, and in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, they're pretty explicitly, the Oompa Loompas are from Loompa Land, and they're basically like little African pygmies that he just stole in a box and like brought over. Okay, and it's not like it's a kid's book, so you're gonna hear everybody that reads this and wants to be absolutely ass blasted about it is going to be like. They'll describe this in just in extremely couched terms and like just directly like, and then he put them in a box and he brought them and they were slaves, and it's like, yeah, okay, but he wasn't like the vibe wasn't that fucking extreme, but it is bad. It is generally a bad thing that happened, and that he wrote that, and it's gross. And like even in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, they changed them to little orange men with green hair, and that Oompa Loompa design is still fucking slaps. When people say Oompa Loompa body ass bitch, they are not fucking referencing Roald Dahl's fucking book. That, come on, let's honestly, like most people in America have not read. Apparently it's still big in the UK, but if you want your Charlie and the Chocolate Factory fix in America, you watch motherfucking Willy Wonka, all right? Gene Wilder's got it handled, and they fixed all the bad shit in it pretty much then. I think there's also some additional censorship. In the new one, they changed them like a little bit, I don't know, just to make it a little less fucking racist, which is obviously a good thing. But the other thing they changed is like Augustus Gloop isn't called fat, he's called like enormous or some shit. These are pretty fucking piddling changes, right? And ultimately, I don't really think they changed the character of the book in any way that is remotely valuable in general. To the point where if Roald Dahl came back from the dead, and he is dead, so I really don't give a fuck how he feels about the books anymore, because he's a fucking corpse. He's literally dust. There's nothing left of his brain to talk about. He's just a fucking memory that you have, okay? So I don't care what he thinks about anything, because he's fucking dead. If he's got some writings you want to interpret on his shit, that's fine, but that's really not thinking about what Roald Dahl thinks. That's thinking about what you think Roald Dahl thinks, which is a completely different thing. But ultimately, I don't think he would give a shit if these changes were made. I mean, maybe if he was like a Dilbert grade, Scott Adams, pants-pissing fucking boomer by now, but generally, boomers are the way that they are for the reasons that they are. But his generation, like the greatest generation or whatever, the one before them, they tended not to give a fuck as much. They were when they were awful, but they were generally just like, I specifically hate thing, and they did not try to couch it as often in like double entendres and shit. When they were racist, they were just fucking racist. And if he was upset about it, he would have been like, no, the racism stays, because I'm a fucking racist. Like, that's how they were. They didn't get upset about little encroachments and shit. They would just be like, no, fucking the dames need to get back in the kitchen. And fucking stupid shit like that. Crushingly fucking lame. But anyway, the thing that they're trying to say is, once you start changing these books, where does it stop? Where does it stop? Where does it stop? And that's basically the argument I've heard re-articulated on that side of things. And then I'll get to the other side too in a bit, which is less irritating, but still. And the thing is all shit changes after you're fucking dead. I think some of these books are in the fucking public domain by now. Even if you're doing reprints, which is probably why they're changing shit. If you change the wording and stuff, then that edition is not in the public domain, okay? So, like, if you do, like, a translation of Shakespeare, then that translation is not in the public domain. But the original work of Shakespeare is public domain. I mean, translation, maybe not the thing, but if you do, like, an edition, right? If you put it together and then you throw some extra shit in, right? Like, hey, this is my fucking Shakespeare with emojis. Now, Shakespeare with emojis is your thing. You've changed the original product. And this starts getting into like copyright law and editions and rewrites and stuff. But just to be as explicit about this, the Epic of Gilgamesh is one of the oldest fucking books, oldest stories known to like mankind. And it is, it's been changed a million fucking times. Like people have been trying to figure out the translations for it. It's not even in our language. Recently, chapters were found for it. The Bible the fucking literal word of God, according to some people, it literally has multiple editions that you can buy on the fucking shelf, okay? And I mean, I guess the counter argument would be like, well, look at all the problems that caused. It's like, yeah, I don't know. That's fucking dumb. Things just get changed. There's new editions all the time, and you can always find this out. And that was literally the thing that irritated me so much about this dumb fucking conversation that I almost crawled up a goddamn wall. Was one of the people was trying to say, oh, I didn't know. Like, he's fucking stupid, and he didn't know that there's multiple editions of books. I guess just the word edition that he knew the definition from, he just never applied it in real life, which is fucking wild. Because like, why do you have the courage and the conviction and confidence to be in this conversation when you're literally too fucking stupid to understand there's different editions of books? God damn it. He said, that's just a ridiculous thing and people would never look for it. People do, though. I don't know how to explain that. Some people actually know to look for different editions of books. It's if they give a fuck, okay? And generally, people don't give a fuck. They don't care about kids' books that much, especially when the character of the book hasn't changed at all. It's still fucking, it's some dickhead named Charlie goes to a fucking chocolate factory and learns about not drowning in chocolate and fucking sharing. That's the whole point of the fucking book. That's it. Vernia says, I don't know how books work, but I will be in this debate about books. I mean, that's it. And it's literally driving me fucking insane. And I don't know if you're here for the earlier parts, but like, there's so many people that are in this space having these conversations and they are completely lost. They don't know what they're talking about from the get-go. All they know is they're like, I have this one political end goal and I will achieve it. But the thing is the people that are on, I guess, what the closest thing to my side of an argument also don't know enough about fucking how this shit works to make a good counter argument. And so they're floundering about, flummoxed, fucked up, not able to like counter argue the dumbest fucking point I've ever heard, which is that first off, it doesn't fucking matter. And I would say it really doesn't. I would say also, in addition, to get to the other side and kind of provide a little bit of a counter argument to the other side, this is not a valuable thing or even a good thing that the Dahl estate is doing. These are people that have made nothing. The Dahl estate are just capital owners trying to like rejigger an ancient fucking book so that they can make money off of it. I guarantee you every single person that touched this re-edited version of this book on the way to it being published was born after its original publishing date. I would be fucking stunned unless there's one corpse like Christopher Tolkien that's just fucking shuddering from room to room like the living ghost of his own father. No, he would not have said that. Fucking Jesus Christ. But even in this case, if there is such a person, they don't fucking care. And it ultimately, this stuff is it's fucking dumb. So the Roald Dahl censorship controversy is not a controversy. It is ultimately a way for just a capitalist enterprise that produces nothing, that has created literally nothing. Nothing new is there, except for a few words, which is like a legal argument specifically. They have made nothing, and they are going to capitalize on it, exploit it, and make profit. And now you're just providing them free publicity, okay? So that everybody can get butthurt, and then for some reason, people are rushing out to buy archaic copies of a book that I was finding moldering on shelves when I was 11, read, and promptly forgot because the movie is uncritically and in every way, shape, and form better. The book I don't even think has fucking songs in it. I think some of the songs were added later to different editions of the fucking book. so that when kids read it, they would see the Gene Wilder version songs in it. I didn't even think of that until right now, but that was in the 1990s. So this shit's just been going on, and there's just people that are out there that are getting so fucking ass blasted, so fucking just the most hemorrhoid developing behavior over this shit. Ass fucking blasted that they're going to give free publicity to everyone over this shit, and it's stupid, and don't do it. Vernia says, right holders dabbing over Dahl's grave on the way to the bank. Yeah, I mean, in general, what else? What else is it? You come in, you see it, it's like, hey, fuck, this is laying around. I'm just going to sell it. Literally dusting it off, putting a new coat of paint on it, and sending it out. It's functionally the same thing as Pepsi changing their logo every few years. But this time, when they changed the logo, everybody got so pissed, they bought $4.2 billion worth of fucking Pepsi. I just don't get it. And I don't support either side talking about it, other than to say, this is dumb and we shouldn't be talking about it. And I think I'm done now myself. That's 22 minutes on Roald Dahl. That subject's finished.